Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. We'll just quickly look at the dollar again because it was successful yesterday. It made lots of pips on the dollar Swiss. Hopefully, you caught it. I just want to talk about these volume changes over time on the Euro USD. At the start of the week, they were 6,000 lots short, another 14,000. So it's very bonkers. And then adding short is causing price to go higher. Um, we'll probably may expect like a pullback because yesterday was very strong. But do note that it would be a buy if we dip. So I just want to show you some charts. Um, so that's fine. So here's the dollar Swiss. If you remember yesterday, I was saying we had some heavy resistance, and then we had a reaction here. If you remember me saying, and I expected to have some support here, so I took profit too early, but it's okay. It was still a good profit. Entering around about there, it's decent. It's a decent haul, isn't it? So do note that we've broken this now. So looking quite heavy, and we come to the bubble, and I'll show you the bubbles. And come to the daily bubble, and the dollars over here, the Swiss. Now we may get like an interchange now because the dollar is slightly stronger than the Swiss because we're looking left and right. Do note that the yen is strong today and the CAD is weak. Aussie is also should be strong sell. So we may see the dollar Swiss. We may see that bottom out a bit because if they start short in the USD, we should see price performance go higher. So we come back to this. So I think this would be stop hunt, very likely stop hunt scenario. So do get a copy of the stop loss cluster indicator. We can look at the heat map quickly. And to get the heat map, you need to come to your account, My Products, and then try out here. But you need to be lifetime sub, okay? So let's look at the dollar Swiss. And we may see a bit of a pullback on the dollar pairs because of that dollar bubble. So we'll remove the order book just for a second. Change to dollar Swiss. Where are we? There we are. So we can have a look. And I was saying we're going to come into some heat map liquidity. It looks like we are, aren't we? So the bottom of that range, it kind of stops 90.22. We've got 10 pips to go. So if you were shorting, you may want to think about exiting because we've got a possible interchange on the bubble where the dollar is going to be a little bit stronger than the Swiss. So this may be a good TP down here at 90.22. Or if you had a short, it's probably not a bad place to exit because we're hitting that liquidity right now, and we came all the way down to absorb those stops. So that's the dollar Swiss. We can look at potentially the euro Swiss. Maybe we can have a look at their stops as well. And it looks like we've got a bit of chunk down here. So I think what will probably happen is this will correlate quite strongly with the dollar Swiss. So if the dollar Swiss falls, this could fall as well. And if we do get a stronger dollar, it may hamper the euro as well. We have to remember that we've got some UK data out soon, and it's the services data. So that's a key metric for the UK. So be careful with the pound. Do keep an eye on that bubble. And if we come over here, we're going to be in a strong buy. And naturally be careful with gold because the net short and then adding short. So yesterday what happened is that they were net short, but they went long. But we have to remember that they're still short. Even though they're short, but they went long at a net level, they're still very short. So it looks like they're adding. And what's going to probably happen with gold is that we're going to we're probably just coming up to take stops, and that's the logic for it. That's the reason for the parabolic move. And do note what I was saying about the COT data as well, because we had a divergence on price and also on the COT data, but we didn't make a higher high on the COT data, but we are in price. So that was indicative of more upside on gold. So I refer you to that COT video that we made on the weekend. And what happened is that we didn't make it. We made a lower high on the COT data, but we can see we're clearly making higher highs on price. So there was a divergence between the COT data and price. So that was probably indicating more upside. So when we look at the COT data on the weekend, we'll make a higher high, and then that will be quite bullish. But yeah, it's kind of, the heat map's a little bit weird. It looks like they've got some very thin liquidity all the way up to 92,967. And obviously above there aren't anything at all. And those poor guys are going to get absolutely rinsed. So I think that's what we want to look at, some setups, don't we? We can definitely look at a setup. Yen, it may be a bit late, but CAD yen would be like the trade today. So we can look at that. It's a little bit all over the shop, this analysis, but hopefully it's useful. CAD yen, so we moved quite a bit already, and oh, it hasn't got many supply or demand at all. It may be, it would be suggesting that we'd probably want to come up there for a sell. But we are currently at a sell. So there isn't any analysis on the 2 hour. Maybe change it to the hour. Oh, okay, that's probably a bit better. So this could be a setup where we're looking, for a stop here. So we could put this on here. Shorts. So basically it's that candlewick high, and that's going to be a stop loss. You could enter now here, and we get a really good risk to reward. I mean, a 2R is fine. Where would you want to go? This is that gap, so we want to be careful because we definitely filled that gap, didn't we? Maybe that there, maybe. It's hard to say where the TP is going to be, but as long as you're getting more than 1R, it's okay. But currently we've got some resistance, and we've got the bubble confirmation for a sell because they've gone long CAD and they bought the yen. So that's probably going to be today's setup, and maybe we can just check the volumes as well. Summary, CAD yen, it hasn't got a tick, but we will have red on the pivots. So it's saying weekly pivot is of note because we're currently above. So we come here, we'll check out the weekly pivot, and so we want it below 107.06. Okay, so that could be a good confirmation for a short. Come back to the CAD yen, 107.06. So break 107.06, so 107.05 entry, and you still get a good risk to reward. But then if we break 107.06, we're below the weekly pivot, but we're also below the daily pivot and the monthly pivot. So quite strong for indication for a sell. It's been a little bit naughty now, so perhaps have an entry below the weekly pivot here, 107.05, and then therefore would be below the weekly pivot. It may just be a little bit naughty. Do remember that we're quite risk on as well, so we have to remember the fundamentals. If we go risk off, traditionally speaking, the yen should strengthen, but it has kind of like uncoupled from that correlation a little bit. The dollar is a strong indication for risk on, risk off. The yen is less so, but we have to remember it does strengthen slightly when we go risk on or off. It will strengthen if we go risk off, but it should weaken if we go risk on. Okay, so a little bit naughty. So have a short order below the weekly pivot, and we'll come back to this tomorrow and see how it goes. But we have to be careful because of the fundamentals. Okay.